Y2K, the year 1999. I'm in my early 20s probably at the time.
Okay.
And I remember that one got me so good.
It was a good one. I even remember as a double observer, so that was 1999, and I was graduating high school that year. That shows you how old I am. So that was a big one for as a double observer. It was the first time I saw like actual news getting scared and nervous about something.
There still exists a general state of either denial, complacency, or even apathy about both the reality and the potential effects of Y2K.
By the end of the 90s, many of us were happy slaves to our computers. But our new masters had a trick they'd forgotten to tell us about.
The basic idea on Y2K was that for convenience, all these computer programs, when it came to do dates, you only needed 2 numbers. Why use 4 numbers when you only need 2? And then they recognized, what date is a computer going to think it is when we get to 2000?
One simple date change for man, one major screw-up for computer.
At the stroke of midnight, January 1st, 2000, elevators may stop. Heat may vanish. Credit cards and ATMs may cease to function. Airplanes and trains may come to a halt.
People were terrified the world was going to end.
This is not one of the summer movies where you can close your eyes during the scary parts.
With nearly everything in our economy run by computers, the prospect of a digital meltdown is too huge to contemplate.
I was worried because the whole computer game was new to us, and I was a little ignorant.
We didn't know what we didn't know.
And many thought what we didn't know was going to hurt us.
I've got a revolver right now, but I wanted something more.
That was a Dragon's Breath shell. It can shoot a 4,000-degree flame 300 feet. It's also the most popular ammunition among Y2K customers at KGS Guns and Ammo.
There was a fear. Everything's in the internet, everything's in computers, and we're gonna lose it all. And Jesus is coming back.
With pre-millennium tensions growing, the president appoints a crisis management expert to prevent a Y2K meltdown.
8 to 10% of the population were fairly confident that this was going to be an apocalypse. The president called me one night and said, here's an office and an assistant, and don't let the world stop.
There you go. I was part of that 8 to 10% that this reptilian shapeshifter is warning us about. Right? Aliens have invaded the government. Here's proof. That one got me so good. I would store ammo. I would store food. I got pocket knives. I went all in. I was ready to go to move to Idaho and be out of here. I was convinced.
As if safety was in Idaho.
Yeah. It was so nutty. And then it was just so embarrassing that once the clock hit 0, midnight, nothing happened.
That you just assume.
Yeah.
And so like, okay, we talk about going all in or taking one little thing or one little fear and just blowing it into the greatest thing ever. That was very like, there's a lot of single observers there. Like this one thing will happen. Just this one thing will happen. And then forever the end of the world. Like it just takes it and it just instantly like adds like combustion to it and it explodes. On the other side, the single decider would be like, I saw that person make a horrible decision or be a horrible person, and then forever that person will never change. They'll always be this evil person, like, or this decision, I never can go backwards on a decision. That's what the single deciders do.
I'm in my workplace, and they did this mean thing to me, therefore it's always going to be unfair, and there's no way, and I can't talk to anybody.
That person can't change. That's the single decider struggles. But it's funny, as I would say about the single observers. It's like funny to watch you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what did you just say? Oh, well, the computers would go click, 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 and then go to the 00, and then the world would explode, and then all the humans would turn into zombies and then come after you. So we need ammunition. Like, really? Is that really? But like,
all of that made so much sense in my mind 20 years ago. To the point
where you took action on it. Like, I would still say there were plenty of single deciders that were like, oh, you're right, the humans will start coming after us. Like, I'm sure that there were probably plenty of us single deciders that freaked out. But the observer of like one observer thing off, and that can't be resolved.
I've really tried over the years consciously to try and like, where do you catch that?
That's
like,
really good.
Like, because what I used to say is, oh yeah, well I'll show you one of these days it really is going to be an apocalypse and I'm going to be ready.
That's so true.
You know, well maybe. Like, I don't want to not be that guy.
Right.
So one of the things though that I've really kind of trying to sift it to anchor onto is just watching for fear. Yeah. For me, it's not the hardest thing in the world to track with Savior FI of like, if I'm feeling fearful or nervous or anxious, that isn't necessarily hidden from me for long amounts of time because I'm aware of my emotional state. So that's just whatever I leverage.
Yeah.
Maybe you're leveraging something else. Maybe you're leveraging the anxiousness from your other tribe members or not the ability to meet this goal. Whatever. Right. Some kind of check mark to be like, all right, when I'm feeling like, oh my God, this is going to be a huge, huge problem, that's when I go, all right, hey, can you help me with this? Can I get an outside opinion? I feel like I want to pack up my duffel bag and head to the hills.
Yeah.
Is this really that bad? And it's great when you get some friends who are like, oh yeah, this is really that bad. Like, oh shit.
I know, that's what for me it was like, okay, the actual news is reporting on how bad. But like then all these single observers come on and you're like, well, the tribe says. It's like, yeah, they're all single observers freaking out.
I know. It's back to if you're hanging around with your 5 friends that are all observers, you're all screwed. But the biggest thing is like whenever you're feeling scared, the end of the world, or when people are coming to you saying, hey, the gossip, hey, you got to listen to me.
Yeah.
If you don't listen, hey, you got to answer my text right now.
Urgency?
Urgency, latest, loud. If you don't listen to me right now, this horrible thing's going to happen.
Oh my God. That's a really big deal. It's if you are in a hurry and there is fear, you're in trouble. Right. Whether you're listening to somebody who is in that state or you're in that state, they should not be trusted and you should not be trusted because you're assuming there is something that is impossible to solve, as outside of your control. And honestly, it's just a signal from your brain that is telling you, you have not put your time in over here to really own what is going on. Now, if you do that other side, that other observer, whether it's owning the sensory of it or it's owning the patterns of it, you'd actually see that there was nothing there. And that's just your brain signaling to you, I'm not looking there. I haven't been looking there. And I need to go 0 to perfect and solve this problem right now in this moment. Yeah. I'm not allowed to go through any negativity of that function. I'm paying for that, you know?
Right. Do you know when I go out at night and piss in the yard, I still
this is not a story.
I still do screw yous to whoever's watching me. I'm like, I know somebody's watching. Satellite, alien. Just in case they really were there, like how funny that would be. They're like, so this guy comes out every night at about 10 o'clock. He stands right in that corner and pisses in the yard. He thinks we're not seeing him, but we actually are.